Marcus towered over my workstation. His expression twisted with that familiar mixture of disgust and satisfaction. Tomorrow was supposed to be the most important day of my career. The final interview at StreamlineAI, the company I dreamed of joining since freshman year. But there he stood, having just executed what he thought was the perfect sabotage. "There," he announced, stepping back from my blank monitor. "Maybe now you'll focus on something more appropriate for a woman." The venom in his voice cut deep, but not as deep as the betrayal. This wasn't just my stepfather. This was the man who'd raised me for 8 years, who I'd foolishly trusted with my dreams. My stepmother Elena emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dish towel as if she'd just finished some mundane chore instead of witnessing the destruction of months of my work. "Honestly, Sophia, this obsession with computers is getting embarrassing. Look at your stepbrother David. He's studying business, something respectable. Something that makes sense." David leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, that smirk I'd grown to hate plastered across his face. "Face it, sis. You're not built for this. Tech companies want innovation, not diversity hires pretending to understand algorithms." They expected tears. They expected me to collapse, to beg, to finally accept the limitations they'd been trying to force on me since I was 14. Instead, I sat perfectly still, staring at the empty desktop where my portfolio had lived just moments before. Because here's what they didn't understand about people like me. We don't just dream, we prepare for war. Every project they just deleted had been living in 3 separate cloud repositories for months. Every line of code, every design mockup, every technical documentation file was backed up, encrypted, and accessible from anywhere in the world. The moment Marcus had started showing interest in my computer stuff last week, asking suspicious questions about my interview, I'd known exactly what was coming. But my preparation went deeper than just technical backups. I'd been documenting everything. Screenshots of my deleted work, recordings of their dismissive comments, a detailed journal of every microaggression and sabotage attempt. Not for revenge, but for clarity. For the day I'd finally be strong enough to walk away. The morning of my interview, I left the house in complete silence. No goodbyes, no explanations. I could hear them in the kitchen, probably planning how they'd comfort me when I returned home defeated. The thought almost made me laugh. At StreamlineAI's headquarters, I connected to my secure cloud storage and watched my portfolio materialize on the conference room screen. The lead engineer's eyes widened as I walked through my machine learning algorithms. The senior developer leaned forward when I demonstrated my mobile app architecture. For 2 hours, I showcased exactly who I was when nobody was trying to diminish me. "We've seen hundreds of candidates," the hiring manager said as we concluded. "But your innovative approach to data visualization and your clean coding practices are exactly what we need. We'd like to extend and offer senior developer position, starting immediately." I accepted on the spot. Not just the job but my new life. My real revenge wasn't dramatic or cruel. It was methodical like good code. The first month's salary went to a security deposit on a downtown apartment. The second month bought me freedom. I changed every password, every contact method, every connection to my old life. By month 3, I'd blocked their numbers and started therapy to unlearn years of psychological damage. The confrontation came 6 months later. Elena tracked down my work address, showing up in the lobby with red eyes and a list of grievances. I agreed to meet them at a neutral restaurant, not for reconciliation, but for closure. They looked smaller somehow. Marcus had lost weight. His arrogance replaced by something that looked almost like desperation. Elena kept wringing her hands, and David couldn't meet my eyes. The family dynamic had clearly shifted without their favorite target. "You've become cold," Marcus said, his voice lacking its usual authority. "We raised you better than this." I set down my coffee cup with deliberate calm. "You raised me to believe I wasn't capable of this." I gestured to my laptop, displaying the article about StreamlineAI's latest product launch, my product launch. "You raised me to think seeking approval from people who don't respect me was normal. You were wrong." David finally spoke up, his voice defensive. We were trying to protect you from disappointment. Tech is brutal, especially for women. We've seen the statistics. The statistics, I replied, don't account for people who refuse to accept limitations imposed by others. They don't measure the power of preparation, persistence, or the clarity that comes from having nothing left to lose. I stood up, leaving money on the table for my untouched meal. You deleted my files thinking you could delete my future. But you can't delete skills, creativity, or determination. You can't delete the part of me that builds solutions while others create problems. The last thing I said before walking away wasn't cruel or vindictive. It was simply the truth. I don't hate you anymore. I've just outgrown the need for your approval. 6 months later, StreamlineAI went public, and my equity made me financially independent before my 25th birthday. Not because I wanted to prove them wrong, but because I'd finally learned to prove myself right. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's construction. Building a life so authentic, so successful, so completely your own that the people who tried to limit you become irrelevant to your story. They thought deleting my portfolio would end my dreams. Instead, it deleted their power over me. And that's a code they'll never be able to crack.